Welcome back to another episode of NBA Weekly. I'm your host, Pee Wee the Plug, Big Stacks Porzingis, 1/4 through the wire, number one Knicks fan in the world, aka Mr. Know-It-All. And today's episode is very exciting. We have our first trade of this crazy offseason with the Oklahoma City Thunder sending Dennis Schroeder to the Los Angeles Lakers for the 28th pick in Wednesday night draft and Danny Green. Now, before we dive into the trade and all of the details and the thoughts and opinions, I think it's important that we note trades can't officially happen until tomorrow at noon. So as of now, this is kind of like a handshake deal, and everything as far as details will be ironed out by Monday. There's been reports about, Oklahoma City already, exploring other options for Danny Green, basically saying that they don't want Danny Green and that we shouldn't expect him to be a part of the Oklahoma City Thunder roster going into the season. They also have said that they're maybe looking to add a third team to this trade, and that's exactly why we can't make it official, because there's still certain details or moving parts that haven't been confirmed just yet. But it is a handshake deal that is somewhat completed, so we can talk about Dennis Schroeder being a Laker, and we can talk about the Thunder again acquiring another first-round pick, which we've seen them do so many times throughout the past few seasons. But again, all trades won't be official until Monday at noon, and this is the first one that I feel will be of many. Very, very crazy times right now. This type of offseason we've never seen. You know what I mean? Guys like me who work in the NBA media, even guys like Woj or Shams, I can imagine this is all kind of strange and like crazy because it's happening so fast. We were just on Through the Wire Saturday talking about the NBA draft because that has not happened yet. We've talked a little bit about free agency and guys like Fred VanVleet. He was just on JJ Redick's podcast talking about free agency. And now all of a sudden we wake up on Sunday and Dennis Schroeder is traded to the Lakers. So everything is happening so rapidly fast that I think we're in for a treat come tomorrow, Monday. And this is going to be a big week in the NBA for all of us fans and all of us that work in the media or content. Whatever you're doing, if you're just a fan, if you work, whatever your association with the NBA is, I think this upcoming week is going to be very, very big and exciting for us because we have the draft on Wednesday. We know tomorrow, Monday, trades can start happening and different things like that. And soon after, we'll be heading into free agency, which is going to make everything pop and explore even more. But about this first trade of the 2020 offseason, the very first trade, like I said, it was exciting because it's been so long since we've had a trade. And, this is the defending champs coming out and making a statement, of them improving. And also with this trade, it opens the door of so many other possibilities. And it makes you wonder what else is in store. Because as we all know, the past week, all of the trade talks were surrounding Russell Westbrook, but also Oklahoma City's other guard, Chris Paul. Dennis Schroeder's name over the past few weeks has been popping up here and there, but a lot of the focal point has been driven around Chris Paul for the most part. So if you look at the Thunder and you see that they just acquired another first-round pick for the guy that hasn't even been their headline trading piece, which is Chris Paul, it just makes you think, man, what else are they going to give for Chris Paul? And then you look at a team like the Lakers who've been connected to so many names. We've heard DeMar DeRozan as of recently. We heard Chris Paul. We've heard about so many different scenarios of maybe them trading Kuzma to Detroit and trying to get a Derrick Rose. There's been so many things. Is Rondo coming back? Is Dwight leaving? Is they keeping KCP? Is he going to leave for the Hawks? And now they start off the offseason with the first official move of trading for a guy who, in my opinion, should have been the winner of the 2019-2020 Six Man of the Year award, which is Dennis Schroeder. Also a guy that, has done a very good job of expanding his game over the last few years. We fell in love with Dennis Schroeder as the Hawks backup guard to Jeff Teague, and then he became the overall starting point guard, and he was killing and hooping and doing his thing. Moved to OKC, came off the bench behind Russell Westbrook, was their spark plug. This past year with Shea and Chris Paul, we've seen him run a 3-guard set. He's played off the ball and has thrived in that role. He's shown that he can play with the ball in his hands. He's had explosive games, doubles, catch and shoot. He's shooting 41% off catch and shoot. So that's a strong beneficial thing for the Lakers, because you know LeBron James is going to control the ball a lot of the times. So to have a guard like Dennis Schroeder who can do the things that he does with the ball in his hands, but then for him to also be coming off a season in which he shot 41% on catch and shoot threes, it makes him even more valuable for the Lakers, because we know that three-point shooting is very key and crucial for them. Also, the Lakers are picking him up in a contract year. So you expect him to try to go out there and play his best basketball, put his best foot forward, and help them, be a 2-time champion. I love the move for the Lakers because, not only everything we just named about what he can do on the floor, but I just think this is a strong statement. This is them coming out and saying, they're going to be better. And they know that they had flaws, and they're going to try to cover those flaws because they understand that Golden State is coming. They're back in the mix. They understand that Brooklyn is back healthy. They're going to be in the mix. They understand that a lot of other teams are going to get extraordinary better. They know that the Clippers have a sour taste in their mouth from their 3-1 lead being blown and getting their early exit. So they know that they're going to try to make any move they can to get better. They're hearing that CP3 is being reached out to by Kawhi Leonard to maybe reunite him with the Clippers. They're hearing about Houston and that debacle that's happening and crumbling in front of our faces. They know that Denver is going to get better because they're so young. So the Lakers are making a statement and saying, we're knowing everything that's going around in the league, so we're going to do our parts to make sure that we get better, because we don't want teams to think that they're going to come in here and just knock us out of the water. So I appreciate that standpoint from the Lakers. And if I was a Laker fan, I'd be very happy to see us being aggressive to get better. Now, as far as the Thunder, because a lot of this probably will be centered around the Lakers, obviously, because they're the team that just won a championship, that is trying to repeat, and that's going for it again. Now, from the Thunder perspective, I mean, you have to start talking about Sam Presti as one of the best. I think a lot of us in the NBA talks or that really know what's going on, we already think highly of him. But I think for the average fan, you know what I mean, for the casual even, it's the point, we're at the point where Sam Presti's name has to be in their minds as well. He can't be this underground king, right? Like, he has to be one of the top tier dogs that everybody talks about. Everybody talks about Daryl Morey. There's other GMs that everybody talks about. Sam Presti needs to be one of those names that's in the minds of deep-rooted NBA fans, casual fans. If you're new to basketball, whatever, Sam Presti's name needs to be more mainstream for what he's doing. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, a lot of the talks thus far has been around Chris Paul, what they're going to get for Chris Paul, where is he going to get traded to, how much value does he has, is this package good enough from the Knicks, is this package better from the Suns, is he going to go back to the Clippers, all of these different talks. And for them to out of nowhere flip Dennis Schroeder for another first round pick, we still have to see what's going to happen with Danny Green. But that first round pick, with the first round pick that they already have, gives them 2 first round picks and a draft that's loaded with complementary players, when they already have kind of a building block with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Darius Bazley, a lot of people like Lou Dort. So I think they have something building there. You go and you add 2 first round picks, late first round picks, for the complementary players to maybe go and take some risk on a Jaden McDaniels to see if he's going to reach, his fullest potential with a team like Oklahoma City. Or you take some of these picks and you stockpile them up, and you maybe flip up and springboard higher into the draft, because they have so many picks that they could do that. It's also going to put them in a position down the line for when the big free agency, markets open up. They're going to have an abundance of picks to maybe try to go and trade for one of these supreme players who are going to be on the last year of their deals or heading into free agency on some sign and trade type things. I've seen Thunder fans talk about that on my Twitter timeline and whatnot, about the Thunder strategically helping the Lakers get better in hopes of them stopping the Clippers from reaching their fullest potential. Because obviously, if the Clippers continue to fail, you have to think Kawhi and or Paul George both leave in free agency because they're going to be in the last year of their deals where they can now opt out. And that will put OKC in a prime position to potentially pick one of those guys up. And even if they don't, that will put the Clippers back in a situation where they wouldn't be that good. And all of those picks that they got from the Clippers would now have extreme value because the Clippers would then be back into the lottery if you lose Kawhi and Paul George in the next year or so. Same thing with Houston. The picks that they got from Houston, they have extreme value the more and more Houston kind of breaks and separates that team up. We don't know Houston's future because as of now, Harden is committed to staying there. But we know the Thunder, they're going to benefit from the Clippers and Houston failing because they own those first-round picks in the future. Who they take with those picks, going to be very interesting. I heard them in a lot of different rumors about trying to move up in the draft. They also still have Chris Paul in their back pocket, which is just the craziest thing to me. We've seen Chris Paul be tied to the Phoenix Suns. So if that was a deal that can or would happen, I would think that the Thunder would want that 10th overall pick back. And now that puts them in a situation where they can tell Suns, hey, we'll give you Chris Paul. Y'all give us that 10th pick. And maybe the Thunder say, you know what, y'all can take those 2 first-round picks that we have in the 20s. We have 25 and 28 now. Y'all want those 2, and y'all just give us 10. Maybe the Thunder are with that. Maybe the Thunder even play hardball and say, you know what, we'll give you one of those picks, and we'll keep one, and they can have the 10th and the 28th. And I think for the Thunder, that's a steal. I think that's a big steal for them to be able to walk out with a top 10 pick for basically Dennis Schroeder, who was going into the last year of his deal, who probably would have walked away from them anyway, and then Chris Paul, who was just $40 million on their books, that was looked at as a hassle more than a value contract when they absorbed him. But nope, they went into a playoff situation. We saw a lot of their young guys grow on and off the floor. They definitely were a better team than projected, and they got that experience. They got a top 10 pick. There's nothing better. And then they were able to unload them and let them go. And now they move forward with Shea having some playoff experience. Now a couple years of playoff experience. Darius Baisley playoff experience. You go and you get a top 10 player to add to that core with those pieces. And then you continue to move forward. I think the Thunder are doing an absolute great job at rebuilding that team. If I was a Thunder fan, I'd be ecstatic because they're doing everything right. And I just don't see how they can fail. They're kind of putting themselves in a situation where they're going to thrive. Like, their future is as bright as it gets when you look across the NBA. And if you're into the college basketball scene or high school basketball scene, ESPN has been playing high school basketball games last couple days throughout the week or whatnot. And you're seeing some of this young talent that we have coming up through, through the system, you know what I mean, to get to the NBA draft. And you're seeing some guys out there that look promising, that seem to have some potential in the next few years. So these next couple of draft classes is going to be much more top heavy than this draft that we're dealing with now. And if you're a team like Oklahoma City, who are basically playing their cards to be able to thrive in those upcoming drafts, you look at that talent, you're in a good position to get somebody that can maybe change your franchise with the potential that some of those young guys have. So like I said, I look at it as a trade that benefits both sides. The Thunder, great situation, prime place to continue to grow and make their rebuild even more exciting than it's been already. And then the Lakers, you get better. You make an extreme statement. And I think he's an upgrade. Rondo is great for the playoffs, but I think when you talk about regular season, youth, you know what I mean? I think Dennis Schroeder is going to come in and give you something that wasn't there. Now, what that does mean is that it probably can guarantee that Rondo won't come back. And what that maybe does is allow Rondo to go right up the street to the Clippers. You know what I mean? Which could be a headache for the Lakers, because we know when it comes playoff time, Rondo elevates his game. You know what I mean? He elevates his game to a level that's going to be winning basketball. Also, you have to look at the Clippers and think that they're going to pay attention to every move that the Lakers make. Everybody in the league is going to pay attention to every move that the Lakers make. and that's only going to make the Clippers more hungry and more aggressive of getting a Chris Paul if the Thunder permits it, or going and getting a Rondo. It's going to put pressure on them to get better. I'm just interested to see all of the things that happens now for the Lakers, because not only is it a question if Rondo is coming back, is Avery Bradley coming back, Dwight Howard, you know what I mean? What other moves are they going to try to make? I'm very interested to see what happens with that. And then you also have to wonder what's going to happen with Danny Green. You know what I mean? OKC has kind of let it be known that they have no interest in bringing him onto the team, which makes total sense because they want to play all of their young guys as much as they can. And once we get that news out, it'll be very interesting. But like I said at the beginning of the episode, this is crazy times right now. This is just the first of many trades, in my opinion, that's going to happen over the next 24 to 36 hours. I would expect a boatload of trades to happen tomorrow, which is Monday by noon. And we'll be probably putting out a lot of videos of NBA Weekly this week. So y'all make sure y'all stay tight, stay locked in, stay tuned in. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, put the notifications on, because this week is about to be crazy, crazy, crazy as far as NBA transactions, NBA news, and just NBA talk. So, once again, I am your host, Pee Wee the Plug, Big Stacks Porzingis. I appreciate you guys always for tuning in. Please leave me comments. Please leave me concerns. How do you feel if you're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan? How do you feel as a Laker fan getting Dennis Schroeder? Is this the point guard that you wanted? Would you have rather waited and tried to get somebody that may be cheaper? Are you concerned about your cap flexibility when acquiring Dennis Schroeder? Did you want to keep the 28th pick? I know I told a lot of fans, Laker fans, don't expect to draft with that 28th pick. LeBron teams do not draft or want rookies. They already got Tatum Horton-Tucker. Trust me, don't look forward to drafting with that pick. But please, what other trades are y'all thinking that's going to happen? If y'all can, guess some trades or guess some moves that you think will happen by tomorrow at noon. And definitely leave a like. And I'll see y'all next time. I'm out.